Setting aside places like Red Rock is really important because it provides a last refuge, so to speak, for these animals to persist.
Desert tortoises you could have a chance of encountering here at Red Rock Canyon. The desert tortoises are a threatened species. They can live up to 60 to 80 years.
Desert tortoises are specifically adapted to the desert environment by holding in their water. They reabsorb it through their bladder over and over again. They can go 6 months, maybe even longer, without taking another drink. If you get too close to a desert tortoise, you could scare it, which then it might urinate and lose all of its water, and it would dehydrate and die. So best thing to do, stand back, take pictures, be glad that you even had the chance to see a desert tortoise.
Pacific tree frogs are actually a really small frog. They have this really interesting life cycle where while they may be somewhat terrestrial and jumping around on land, they really need water sources to reproduce. And so once they deposit their eggs in these water sources, those eggs turn into tadpoles, and then those metamorphose into a frog. And so it's kind of this cool cycle that is very much tied to water sources.
Gila monsters are the only venomous lizards in the United States.
The thing that makes the Gila monsters unique is the fact that they're very, very brightly colored. They're absolutely beautiful animals.
They have these massive claws that they use to dig their burrows out.
Gila monsters have a really acute sense of smell with that forked tongue, and their ability to find a tortoise nest is just amazing. And they will go and excavate that tortoise nest and readily predate on that nest.
Phainopepala are pretty common here, which they're really neat birds. They're the only silky flycatcher in the United States.
Chuckwallas are interesting in that when they feel threatened, they'll actually go under rocks and inflate their body in a way to where they get stuck. So if something was trying to reach under there and grab them out, they can't do it.
The Burros are here because we have a law that was passed in 1971. It was the Free Roaming Wild Horse and Burro Act, and so essentially we saw it as they're a symbol of the West, and so we felt that it was necessary to protect them. It's important not to feed burros because they can become accustomed to human behaviors and interactions, and then that's when they end up on the roads getting hit and killed. So it's important to respect them from a distance and not allow them to approach you.
The two rattlesnake species that we have here at Red Rock Canyon are the Mojave rattlesnake and the Panamint rattlesnake. The Mojave rattlesnake is widely known for its venom, which is known to essentially do anything from stop respiration to induce a heart attack, whereas the Panamint rattlesnake has a hemotoxin, which ultimately results in necrosis of tissue or even a loss of a finger. So kind of two different means to subduing prey. So keep a distance to make sure you're not bitten by a rattlesnake. I would suggest it's at least 3 times the body length. Maintaining at least a buffer around that snake is the best way to ensure that you're not bitten.
Tarantula hawks are a type of big wasp, essentially. The female tarantula hawks, what they'll do is they'll actually sting and paralyze tarantulas, and they'll lay their eggs inside the tarantulas. The larvae will develop and kind of eat their way out of the tarantula and then eventually turn into new tarantula hawks.
Regarding the food web of this desert ecosystem, deserts are really nutrient limited. It's appropriate to call them a web because you have all these nodes which represent species, and as you pluck away those nodes, essentially that web becomes less effective at doing the job it needs to do. So that delicate connection that all these animals have is something that is really important to preserve and protect.